Something's got to change. Something's got to change. Something's got to change, Baltimore Ravens. Something definitely just, for lack of a better term, it has to change. What is going on, good people? Back at it again. Just a little short video today, man. Something's got to change with these Ravens. And by the way, DJ here, Flock Nation Speaks, Bill Productions, and all that. Something's got to change with these Ravens. And ironically enough, I got to thinking about this by watching the Sixers last night, right? And if anybody knows me, right, I'm a Sixers fan, right? I even said one of my first 1 or 2 episodes, I was talking about how I may make some Sixers content from time to time, and there still may be a video on the debacle that is the Philadelphia 76ers right now. And the reason that I came to this comparison was because the Sixers seem to be going through this process. You know, it's almost a running joke at this point. Trust the process, right? It's almost this running joke that, you know, the process is going to last for 15 years and eventually maybe one day they'll win a championship, right? And what the Sixers end up doing, if you don't know, if you're a basketball fan, you definitely know, they end up trading some of their younger assets for either older assets or assets that they're not going to use but for 1 year, right? And a lot of times we call those 1 year rentals, right? And I feel like the Ravens sometimes have went down a similar path, right? The Ravens also need change, right? We've seen a couple of 1 year rentals. We've seen the Unique Ngakwe's of the world come in and, you know, them try to make those big splash trades and then not sign them. But I think the bigger issue, and somebody had brought this up on YouTube. I was watching it. Somebody had brought this up and I was like, that's a freaking good point. Ravens Online on Gatekeepers, I think it is. He had brought this up, man. Shout out to him. And he was talking about how, you know, David Ajabo, they got this guy. He's injured. He's, you know, even if he does ball out, they're not going to re-sign him. And then I got to thinking about Lamar Jackson's contract and how for some crazy reason they haven't re-signed him. And you for darn sure can't think that Lamar Jackson, of all guys in this NFL league right now, is replaceable. So, because he's just the most dynamic guy there is in the league right now. There's nobody like him. Like, I mean, even you look at the top of the top, you look at Mahomes, you look at Rodgers, you look at all these guys at the same time. Like nobody's quite like Lamar Jackson. Nobody's done more with less than Lamar Jackson. So for me, the Ravens got to change their strategy, I think, right? It blows my mind, right? The Ravens almost come off like they're playing in like the early 2000s or something, right? You remember, you guys remember back when there was the rental stores, right? You could go to the store, you can rent movies, you could rent games back then too. But they had these great deals, right? I mean, I remember I used to go, it was 5 for $5. You would go in there, get you 5 movies, watch them 5 movies, return them things. And I mean, you would go back and do it again next week. It was like clockwork. You was going. It was like clockwork. Every single week you were going to do this, right? Sometimes I feel like the Ravens get into that aspect, right? They find these guys, these dynamic guys. I mean, they stole Lamar Jackson in the draft, right? They stole Lamar Jackson in the draft, no deal to speak of, right? Matt Judon was a beast, no deal to speak of. Of course, he, went on to the Patriots and did what he did, right? Even you grab Unique Ngakwe, right? You grab Unique Ngakwe, and I didn't think he proved as much as he could have proven during his time with the Ravens. But at the same time, I'm like, dang, I mean, why are you trading all your future assets for somebody who you could use in the future just to throw them away as soon as the season's over? It's crazy to me. And like, it got me back to the wide receiver conversation, right? The Ravens are actually historically very good, right? Very good at getting more for less, right? They're very good at this, right? They stole Calais Campbell, right? The Unique Ngakoue deal was a great deal, right? The Bolden deal, I mean, of course, it won us a Super Bowl, was a great deal, right? And I want to say like they got like Mark Ingram on the cheap at that time, right? Like, they do a very good job too of drafting. They'll draft late and get just beasts of players. But then I got to thinking about it. I'm looking at the Rams, and I frowned on the Rams for so long for the way they did things. And I'm not even a guy who frowns on win now style. Like I frowned on them because I didn't think they were the best team, and somehow they pulled it off, right? For me, my biggest issue with the Ravens is why don't they shift to a win now? Because they talk win now, but I don't know if they actually are win now sometimes. I think they think that too many people are replaceable. And even it goes back to Hollywood Brown, right? Hollywood Brown is your first 1,000-yard receiver since Mike Wallace. And I know him and Mark Andrews tandem at that, but like you can't do whatever you can to keep him, right? You're not going to do whatever you can to keep a guy like Hollywood Brown. I mean, don't get me wrong, you paid Mark Andrews, but it's like sometimes I feel like the Ravens' heads are in the wrong spots, right? I think sometimes they're doing the wrong things, and it's confusing me because I'm like, we're supposed to be in win now mode, right? We're supposed to be in win now mode, and the Ravens are so good at balling on a budget. They're so good. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I can't even lie to you, right? Sammy Watkins was a good deal. It worked for the little bit of time that it worked, right? Of course, we go back to Anquan Bolden, amazing deal, right? Calais Campbell, right, has been everything we needed at that time, right? You know what I'm saying? Judon was a guy who was late, right? I mean, shoot, they got Waller. They just didn't know how to use him, right? They got Darren Waller. They didn't know how to use him. That was the issue, right? I'd even say that Joe Flacco was a steal. When they drafted him, like they're so good at balling on a budget. They're so freaking good at it. But then my thought process is, you can always fall back to balling on a budget, right? You can always fall back on that on the thing that works. Why don't you take a couple of chances at going to get, for example, let's look at the wide receivers once again, because I'm a firm believer in James Prochet, Devin Duvernay, Bateman, right? I'm a firm believer in these guys. But when you got game breakers like DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown out here, and literally like you need one of them to completely turn the tide of what your team is. Imagine this offense, as good as they are running the football, with a receiver that instills fear into the defense. Just imagine. And I think that's where my frustration is. I think that's why I'm sitting here making this video, screaming into the camera, because I'm upset right now, right? I really am, because I'm trying to figure out sometimes what the Ravens are doing. I trust the process. Goodness, I can't believe I said that. I trust the process, right? I really do. I trust the process of what the Ravens are doing. But sometimes I'm like, why don't we change our mindset of what we're doing? Why are we not trying to keep up with the Joneses or the Mahomeses, right? Or the Staffords of the world, right? Or the Bradys of the world, right? Like I can't deny that there's talent on the team. They just haven't proven it yet. I've talked about how unproven this Ravens offense is. The Ravens offense is quite unproven, right? I will say that, right? I think the Ravens offense is unproven. But at the same time, I'm still trying to figure out why the Ravens haven't really tried to go after, like they've always been the almost guys, right? Y'all know how this is, right? Y'all know how this is. Look, it's great to go to as we call it GW fashions, right? It's great to go to the thrift stores. It's great to even go to Walmart. They got some good clothes in there, right? But sometimes you got to go to a suit shop to really get the right suit for you, right? Sometimes all the mixing and the matching and the hoping and the praying, sometimes that don't work if every time it happens, it's the same process, right? If history continues to repeat itself, right? Sometimes you got to go, sometimes you can't keep settling, right? You can't keep settling for the McDonald's burger, right? That is good in the moment and is good when you're hungry. when you can easily just go to the gourmet shop, pay a couple extra dollars because you got the money, right? Pay a couple extra dollars because you got the money and do what you need to do, right? And I think the Ravens need a change of pace. The Ravens need, like, they have the most dynamic quarterback in the league. They got a top 5 offense overall in general anyway. You got a top 5 defense every single year. Something's got to give. And the biggest weakness continues to be, and I know offensive line is also, has also been a big weakness. I'm not even discrediting that in the same mold. Why don't you pay Orlando Brown? Right? You got a really good tackle in Orlando Brown. You let him walk. You got a really good tackle in Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown was better at tackle than what Hollywood was at wide receiver, right? You got a really good tackle, can play both sides. Just pay him the money he wants, right? Because the thing is, the Ravens gonna spend it elsewhere, right? They're gonna spend it on 6 guys, not play 3 of them, and instead of spending on one of the most important positions in tackle. Now, maybe I'm looking at this wrong, right? So that's my thing. The Ravens need a change, right? The Ravens need a change even in personnel. The Ravens need a change even in personnel. The Ravens got to stop falling for the 5-for-5 deal, because why go to the rental store? Why go to Brewers, right? Why go to Blockbuster to go for the 5-for-5 deal when you can get every movie you want on Netflix, on Hulu, on Peacock? Right? Why? You're going to end up paying more money at the rental stores, technically, when you think about it, when you can get everything you want right in front of you, and it's easier and it's convenient. That's what happened to those stores, right? And the thing is, let's just say a crazy thing happens, right? You go grab DK, right? You go grab Debo. When AJ Brown was out there, you go grab AJ Brown, and it just don't work. It, for some crazy reason, it just don't work. Number one, he a number one guy, so you can choose if you want to keep him or not. But my thing is, he got plenty of trade value at that point. But you can always fall back on what's worked. And the Ravens have been competitive. I always tip my cap to the Ravens for being a competitive team every single year. But something's got to give. Something's got to give, and I think it's got to be something on that offensive side of the ball. You got to get some more guys that are going to instill fear in these DBs, right? You got to get some more guys that these guys are worried about besides Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson. Let's just be honest, okay? So I'm telling y'all, the Ravens, something's got to give, man. Something's got to give. The Ravens got to figure out something. Yeah, they got to figure out something. They too busy renting and not doing enough buying. Right? Sometimes it's not your time to buy. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes it's not your time to buy. But the Ravens been playing this game for a while. And the Ravens know they always got a fallback plan. So why don't you go into win now mode right now? And then if it don't work, you know for a fact you can get value out of everything you get. Right? Or out of, let's just say, 80% of the things that you get. Right? You know you can get value. So why not change the approach and see if you can find something a little different? As always, hope you guys enjoyed the new episode of Flock Nation Speaks is out on every platform that you can listen on. It's out there. Okay, it's out there. Flock Nation Speaks. Make sure that y'all tune in. Make sure also that y'all leave your comments. Flock Nation Speaks. Flock Nation, y'all got to speak to me. But as always, hope you guys enjoyed. We will see you guys on that next one. Until next time.